response to recent discussions surrounding the conviction of Professor Peter Ogban for electoral fraud during the 2019 Akwa Ibom North-West senatorial election, Senator Godswill Akpabio has publicly refuted the claims that Ogban acted on his behalf. Now, through a statement issued by his chief press secretary, Akpabio asserted that he was, in fact, a victim of the electoral malpractice, emphasizing that Ogban's actions led to the cancellation of 61,329 votes from his stronghold in a synodal local government area, adversely affecting his electoral outcome. Akpabio highlighted that the National Assembly Election Tribunal and the Court of Appeal recognized these irregularities, resulting in the annulment of the election and ordering a rerun in a synodum. He contended that the conviction of Ogban served to vindicate his stance that the election was manipulated against him, not in his favor.
Now, on Wednesday, the Court of Appeal upheld the conviction of Professor Peter Ogban, a former lecturer at the University of Calabar, who was sentenced to 3 years in prison for manipulating election results during the 2019 Akwa Ibom North-West senatorial election. Professor Ogban, serving as the returning officer for the election, was found guilty of altering vote counts in favor of the APC candidate Godswill Akpabio. Specifically, I think something around he inflated APC votes by 5,000 in Oruk Anam local government area and made similar adjustments in Etim Ekwa LGA. Now, despite these manipulations, Akpabio lost the election to the People's Democratic Party candidate Chris Ekwayong. Now, the case marks a rare instance where an academic has been held accountable for electoral malpractice, highlighting the critical role of integrity among officials overseeing elections. It also brings to the forefront the ongoing issues of electoral fraud and the importance of upholding democratic processes in Nigeria.
Akpabio, former governor of Akwa Ibom State, won the 2015 senatorial election in the district as a candidate of the PDP, but later in August 2018 defected to the APC. He contested again for the senatorial election in 2019 as the APC candidate, but lost to Christopher Ekpeyong, a former deputy governor of Akwa Ibom State, who was the PDP candidate in the election. His victory reportedly came as a shock because of how the PDP has been entrenched in Akwa Ibom politics and how his kin and party chieftains rejected his candidacy days before the poll. Let's take a look at the reactions to this particular situation.
This is Mr. Macaroni. He says, for emphasis, the person that the convicted professor rigged an election for is the incumbent Senate President of Nigeria, Godswill Akpabio. For clarification, the Senate President presides over the deliberations of bills that become law in Nigeria. Oma, I don't tire. So a lot of people talk about having these professors be the returning officers and things, and these are people who are supposed to be above anything. They're supposed to uphold integrity. They're university dons. And they're not just any university professors. They're not just any academics. You understand? And so if we just finished a conversation about somebody residing in Delta State because of personal convictions. Now you look at this story and you're thinking, if it's professors who are... So who was he doing it for?
Can anything come out? Can anything good come out of Akpabio? So I've been having mixed feelings about this story, but I'm also, as Tolu said, okay, now we're seeing that there has been a conviction, there has been a hearing, and there's been a sentencing, and there's been a conviction. And I'm thinking, okay, you know, when you watch crime dramas, you know that, okay, someone has to take the fall for something. So you're looking at that kind of situation play out here. Someone's taking the fall for something. It's convenient for you to distance yourself from it. And then you sort him out because that guy is a professor at UNICAL. So when he comes out of there, his professorship is tainted. Whether he'll get another job in a university, may not be Calabar, but he may get a job as a professor lecturing in a university. I don't know.
How do you do that with a criminal record? Except it's expunged.
We know, and the thing we know that we are not saying, whether we like it or not, there's the picture behind the picture that unfolds. And I will tell you for a fact that I'm seeing this picture. Prof will go and serve time in prison. He will come out and he will be sorted. Okay, go first and stay like 6 months and let's see how they can see how you can serve the remaining part of your term at home or something. But prison, he will go. sorted by Akpabio and people, he will be sorted. It's as simple as that. We don't want to face that ultimately. Someone say, okay, you're just speculating. But yeah, I'm speculating, I'm Nigerian. Let me speculate. But I'm saying that this is what is going to play out, and whether we like it or not, we'll still come back to this.
I had to sigh first too, before I say what I want to say. But she said this, which I want to ask you too as well. Can anything good come out of Akpabio? Can anything good come out of Akpabio? There's never been a Senate president that is as mad in corruption and scandals like Akpabio. This man is the face and a typification of corruption in leadership. I mean, we have a Nigerian president who has a lot of baggage. We have the vice president too, and then we have the Senate president. All of them president. Mad in one corruption after another. I'm glad these people are talking about this case because I've been talking about it for a while. So if you check my previous videos, you'll see it. But this is a case where when you look at the Senate president, when something like this comes out, it's either the Senate president should have resigned, but again, there's no shame. And obviously, the court should have nullified anything that Akpabio does anyway. Even though it happened in 2019, 2019, yeah. And Akpabio is trying to distance himself from it. They rigged the election in your favor. You went for a rerun and withdrew yourself out of it. And then you said there was rigged against you. I mean, our politicians want to play us for a fool anyway. Don't you think so? So when I asked earlier, can anything good come out of Akpabio? Because every news that Akpabio is part of is scandal. But before we go into the details of what this entire case is all about, I'd like for you to watch this to the end. And if you're meeting this content for the first time, like, share, and subscribe. And if you've been following us and you've not subscribed, do so as well. Like, share, subscribe, and also recommend this channel to others. I've often said this, and this is to everyone who's shouting for electoral reform. It's not going to happen. Not under this 10th Senate or this 10th Assembly. Anyone who's shouting for legislative reform is not going to happen. And our judiciary is not going to happen. The people that have enabled and abetted these corrupt politicians are our judiciary. I mean, the INEC is there, the electoral body is there. But the judiciary is the biggest enabler of political corruption in Nigeria. Our judiciary is so corrupt. The corruption has blinded them completely. All they see is the wave of money flying their faces. So if we're saying we're waiting for political correctness from reform from our politicians, not these ones who are the beneficiaries of the corruption. I like the way the guy, Mr. Macaroni, encapsulated it. The same person who is meant to preside over the bills that becomes laws in Nigeria, the same one mad in corruption. We can say the same thing as well. The same person that's meant to be our president, mad in corruption. See that? So how is he going to market Nigeria if we want to say, go to the world and go and bring investors into Nigeria? They will look at the president and say, is that the president who's been, caught in different cases of corruption? We don't know what his real age is. You understand? So when we have politicians who are demarketing Nigeria all across the entire world, what do you think is going to happen? Investors will run away. And that's exactly what you see. Their policies will ruin Nigeria. That's exactly what you're seeing. Anyway, let's go back to Akpabio. Everything Akpabio says and does in its National Assembly comes with scandals. Whether it's Natasha Akpoti's scandal or the case of saying poverty is not a crime, is not a sin, as insensitive, or when he says that we're sending prayers into your mailbox, which we know was giving people money, or allegations that the National Assembly was asking for bribe from our educational sector so that they can pass their budget. just to name a few. Or is it laws, or when the executive wants something done, they'll bribe them? This 10th assembly is the one we're counting on to make electoral reform happen in Nigeria. Please, we have to be smart and wise. It's not going to happen. Because when electoral system is sorted out, they will not benefit from it. They will be the ones to lose. So because they know the rules of the game, that if corruption is sorted out, they will not have where to be where they are right now. And most of the monies they've made, they'll return them back. So they know. That's why they will never let justice be what justice should be. Let's go to our judiciary. The biggest enabler of corruption like this is our judiciary. I mean, you remember the case of the Imo State governor, this current governor, Opposite Dima, that same guy who was not number 1, 2, or 3 on the electoral result, but he became the governor of the state. Look at what has turned Imo State into. Almost all the time, all the people that the judiciary select to become leaders in Nigeria have either ruined the state or completely ruined the state, to the ground. Whether it's the state or the federal, they've done the same thing. Buhari, Tinubu, it's the same thing, exactly the same thing. Again, can anything good come out of Akpabio? The Senate president, where the Senate is mad in corruption. The person that said Nigeria is a crime scene, again, that person wasn't far from the truth. Nigeria is a serious crime scene. Our politicians have turned Nigeria into a crime scene. Akpabio. Case in point. Now, this man has taken the fall for the bribe. A good name is always better than gold and silver. Again, you can argue that's not true in Nigeria. Maybe so. But I guess when the man looks at himself tomorrow, they've given him some money. Like the lady said, he's been sorted. Now, but your name is mired in corruption. Look at the case of Diziani. Look at Yaya Bello, the one that people had so much hope for. The people of Kogi State drained their state. This is the same Akpabio that was accused of stealing a lot of money from Akwa Ibom State, or when he was in charge of the NDDC. Our politicians have turned Nigeria into a full crime zone. Our judiciary is the enabler of the politicians who are, destroying our country. And our professors, who are meant to be better at a level higher than our politicians, and become their servants. Errand boys in rigging elections. When will this stop? I told you several times, when you sell your vote, split that into 4 parts, and then say each part is for each year. If somebody pays you 20,000 naira, it means that you've been giving 5,000 naira for a year. That's your value. Bear in mind, multiply that by 1 million. That's how much they will take from each person that they bribed. So I'm telling you right now, 2027 is approaching. Let's continue with this sensitization we're doing. It works. That's why you can see them. They're ramping up all the things they're doing so far, wanting to make sure that Nigeria don't catch them offside. I will use that in a footballing term. Okay? We are better off than all these politicians that will now come to run behind. For them, politics is where they can steal money. It's not where they can make Nigeria better. Don't be a tool in their hands to steal money. Because when you do that, you're never going to be better off. I'm telling you all of this for free. You're never going to be better off. When you steal elections for them, like INEC did the last time, the money they would have used to fix your road, fight insecurity is what they've used already. Can Mahmoud Yakubu go to his own village now? How many Nigerians can travel on the road safely without worrying? Corrupt politicians. Our politicians have turned Nigeria into a crime scene. A Senate president accused of electoral crime, and he tries to distance himself from it. But yet, he's the one that's meant to oversee the laws of Nigeria. Make that make sense? So I'm telling all of you professors as well, many of you that watch me around the world, stop rigging election for politicians. It's not right. And when they get into power, they're never going to do anything that will benefit you. They will defect. See, Akpabio defected from PDP to APC. Akwa and the likes around Delta State, they've all defected from PDP to APC. Is their common interest. And now we're hearing Fubara and going to meet Wike to settle common interest. That's what they say of them in politics. It's common interest, no common enemy. Or permanent, no permanent enemy, just permanent interest. That's what it is. So let's stop playing the fool for our politicians, because if not, they will continue to use us to mop the floor and get themselves wealthier. As always, if you're meeting this content for the first time, like, share, and subscribe. And if you've been following us and you've not subscribed, please do so. I will catch you up in the next video. God bless you. Bye-bye for now.